Hello students, welcome to Mind Riders Education. Today I will discuss Chapter 1 Electric Charges and Fields, all derivations, Part 2. In this video lecture I will discuss ID 8 to ID 12. ID 8 is state and prove Gauss theorem. ID 9 electric field intensity due to infinitely long straight uniformly charged conductor or cylinder. ID 10 electric field intensity due to infinite thin sheet of charge. ID 11 derive electric field intensity due to two parallel infinite plane sheet of charge. ID 12 electric field due to uniformly charged hollow sphere or thin spherical cell. All these derivations are very important for CBSE examination point of view. So let us start ID 8. State and prove Gauss theorem and mention some special cases of Gauss theorem. So according to Gauss theorem, the total electric flux phi passing through any closed surface in free space is equal to 1 by epsilon times total charge enclosed by surface. And electric flux is denoted by phi, and this is equal to integration of this circle. This represents closed path E dot ds equal to q by epsilon naught, where E represents electric field intensity and ds is surface area. So phi equal to q total by epsilon naught. This ds equal to area vector. Area vector is always perpendicular, acts in perpendicular direction, just like your toothbrush. You can correlate this with your toothbrush. This is your toothbrush, and your all brushes are in this direction. Then this flux acts in this direction. This flux. Sorry, this is area vector. This area vector is represented by this area. So a small element of area on surface can be represented as a vector. So length of ds gives magnitude of area ds, and ds is always perpendicular to the surface outward, like this, perpendicular to the surface and outward. So ds, vector ds is represented as ds, and this represents direction, unit vector and cap. So unit vector, it gives only direction, it has its magnitude is 1. Next is, what do you mean by electric flux? Electric flux is defined as the number of electric field line passing through the surface normally. So phi equal to E dot ds. How many lines of surface passes through surface normally? So this gives you electric flux. As we know, d phi equal to E cos theta into ds. Suppose this is my ds, this is ds vector, and this is electric field intensity E. So in this direction it acts, its component is E cos theta, and in this direction its value will be E sin theta. So since we are considering this normal to this vector, so you have to consider E cos theta dot ds. So this is for small flux or area, small area delta s. Now the flux is given by d phi equal to integration of E dot ds cos theta. Since this is vector product, so we can represent this as E dot ds, because E dot a dot b equal to ab cos theta. So using this formula, it can be represented by E dot ds. So if theta equal to 0, it means phi equal to E dot ds, and cos 0 is 1, so E dot ds, and this gives you maximum value. And if theta is 90 degree, then phi equal to E dot ds equal to 0. So electric flux is zero if electric field is parallel to the plane of surface. So if it is parallel to the plane of surface, means as we know ds also represented by, this is your ds, suppose this is your surface, so this is ds, and consider E is also acts in this direction. So E is, now in this case E is parallel to delta S. So although this is normally to the surface, but delta S and delta S and E is uh, parallel to each other. In that case, flux is zero. Now proof of Gauss theorem. According to Gauss theorem, phi equal to Q by epsilon naught. So we know that we can write Q equal to integration of E dot ds. So consider a point charge Q is placed at center. Suppose this is center and here plus Q charge is placed. S equal to surface of a sphere. This is surface sphere. R equal to radius of sphere. Then step 1, you have to calculate electric field intensity due to charge Q. So this is electric field intensity due to charge E. The electric field intensity E due to Q on surface is given by E equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R square R cap. So R is your unit vector. Then you have to calculate flux. Flux is d phi. We know that d phi equal to E dot ds. E dot ds means E into ds cos theta equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R square into ds. ds is your area vector, and this magnitude is 1. So as this r and n are same direction, so theta equal to 0. Theta is equal to 0 means this is 1. So phi equal to integration of d phi. So for finding, this is for small area, and for complete area we have to integrate it. So phi equal to E dot ds, and this is equivalent to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R square into ds. So phi is represented by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R square into integration of ds, and we know that ds equal to, this is surface area of a sphere, this is 4 pi R square. So 1 by 4 pi epsilon Q by R square into 4 pi R square. Then this will cancel to each other, and finally you will get Q by epsilon. So phi equal to Q by epsilon. This is very important formula given by Gauss. There are some special cases. Phi equal to E dot ds equal to Q by epsilon naught. If surface does not contain any charge, then Q equal to 0. It means phi equal to 0 means E dot E divided by epsilon naught equal to 0. If surface has equal and opposite charge, suppose this is plus Q and minus Q, then flux equal to E dot ds, and Q total is 0. It means flux is 0. Next, if surface has discrete distributed charge like Q1, Q2, Qn, then Q total is Q1 plus Q2 plus Qn. Then phi equal to integration of E dot ds equal to 1 by epsilon naught summation of Qi. So sum of all charges divided by epsilon naught. Net electric flux through closed surface is proportional to charge enclosed but independent of size of enclosed surface. This does not depend on size. So it depends only on charge. So suppose this has only this much area, and other sphere has this much area, but this has charges to Q and Q. This also has charges to Q and Q. So phi will remain same for both because it does not depend. So suppose this area is A here, and here there is A square. So it doesn't depend on area. So phi will remain same. Fifth one is a charge outside enclosed surface have no effect on flux of the surface. So suppose there is one charge and we want to know the flux on this surface. So due to this charge, electric lines of forces will pass from this point, and it will out from this, it will in from this, out from this, in from this, out from this. So total in equal to total out, so there is no charge. It means number of electric lines leaving a closed surface is equal to number of electric field lines entering to the closed surface, and net flux equal to 0 due to outside charge. So if there is outside charge, there is no effect on flux. Next derivation is electric field intensity due to infinitely long straight uniformly charged conductor. So suppose this is my uniformly charged conductor having and this is from distance r. So we are taking as a Gaussian surface here, closed surface. So suppose r equal to radius of cylinder, L equal to length of cylinder, then we know that flux equal to E dot dx, y equal to E into ds. Ds means surface area. Surface area of the cylinder is 2 pi rl. Then according to Gauss theorem, we know that phi equal to q by epsilon naught. We also know that lambda linear charge density equal to charge per unit length, so q by L. So we can write q equal to lambda into L. So phi equal to E dot 2 pi RL equal to q by epsilon naught. So we can say that E equal to lambda by 2 epsilon naught into R. So E is inversely proportional to radius in case of infinitely long straight conductor. Next, ID10 is derive electric field intensity due to thin sheet of charge. So suppose there is one thin sheet here, and ABCD is plane sheet, and sigma is surface charge density here. Since there is sheet, so here we have to use surface charge density sigma. A is cross sectional area. Then flux phi equal to E into A. Since there are two surfaces, so you have to take two, because this is one surface and this is other surface. So it passes through two Gaussian surface. So it is 2 into EA. Apply Gauss law, 2EA equal to q by epsilon naught, and we know that sigma equal to q by A. Put all this value here, you will get E equal to sigma by 2 epsilon. It's a very important formula. These all are applications of Gauss law. Next, idea 11 is derive electric field intensity due to two parallel infinite plane sheet of charge. Suppose there is two plane sheet of surface charge density sigma 1 and sigma 2, and there are three regions here: region 1, region 2, region 3. This is region 1, region 2, region 3. Now you have to find out electric field intensity due to this sheet in all the regions. We know that electric field due to sheet A and B are E1 equal to sigma, suppose this is sigma 1, sigma 1 by 2 epsilon naught, and E2 equal to sigma 2 by 2 epsilon naught. Now in region 1, as we can see, this is region 1, and region 1 E1, this is plus charge, so electric field is outside from this plane, and E2 is also positive charge, so due to E2 there is also electric field outside this surface. So net electric field in region 1 equal to minus E1 minus E2, because both are in negative direction, negative x direction. So it is minus E1 minus E2. So just you have to add minus 2 epsilon naught sigma 1 by sigma 2 along x direction, negative x direction. In region 2, net electric field, you can see this is region 2, and E1 is outside the surface because it's a plus charge, so E1 will be outside like this, and E2 will be outside to this surface, so E2 will be in this direction. So net E is E1 minus E2. So this is net E1 minus E2. So sigma 1 by 2 epsilon naught minus sigma 2 by 2 epsilon naught. Finally, you will get 1 by 2 epsilon naught sigma 1 minus sigma 2. Similarly, we can find out electric field intensity in region 3. So we can see in region 3, E1 is electric field intensity due to C to 1, and this is plus charge, means outside this direction. E2 is also, this is plus charge, so this will also go outside. So E1 and E2 both are in x direction. So this time you have to add both, and you will get E1 plus E2. So sigma by 2 epsilon naught plus sigma 2 by 2 epsilon naught. So finally you will get 1 by 2 epsilon naught sigma 1 plus sigma. So this is electric field intensity due to two different sheets in different regions. Now there are some special cases. Suppose there are two plates A and B. A is positive charge. Now this time B is negative charge. So we can say sigma 1 equal to plus sigma, sigma 2 equal to minus sigma. Then E1 in electric field intensity in region 1, this is region 1, this is region 2, and this is region 3 as earlier. So E1 equal to, now this E1 will be, E1 is in this direction, and E2, this is negative charge. Negative charge means this E1 will move in this area, this way. So total electric field intensity in this are minus 1 by 2 epsilon naught sigma minus sigma. So this sigma and sigma will cancel each other. So this is in opposite direction. So this you can cancel and you will get 0. E2 1 by 2 epsilon naught sigma minus of sigma. So we will get sigma by epsilon naught. In E3 1, this will cancel each other and you will get 0. So these are electric field. This is a special case of above. The last derivation is ID12 electric field. You have to derive electric field intensity due to uniformly charged hollow sphere or thin spherical cell. So there are two cells having radius capital R. This is capital R, and up to this it is small r. So consider small r is greater than capital R. I have taken wrong. Consider this. This is my R from this point to this point, and this is capital R. So small r is greater than R means electric field intensity at point outside the cell. So you have to find out electric field intensity outside the surface, on the surface, and inside the surface. So this time I have taken case 1 and point is outside cell. Small r is greater than capital R. Then in this case phi equal to E dot ds, E into 4 pi r square, phi equal to q by epsilon naught. So after this you will get E equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square. So E is inversely proportional to r. Case 2, when point is on the surface, means small r is equal to capital R. So capital R here, you will get E equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r. Now if point is inside the cell, so inside the cells, and we know that inside conductor there is no charge, since charge is 0. So E dot ds equal to q by epsilon naught, and here Gaussian surface encloses no charge. So q equal to 0. So E dot ds equal to 0, it means E equal to 0. We can show this as in this diagram. This is the electric field intensity. So up to R, this electric field is 0. Up to surface R, it is maximum 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square. After that, it increases like this. So this is complete introduction of all the derivations of chapter 1 and part 2. If you understand something, please like this channel, subscribe this, and share the channel with others. Thank you.